know what's not a problem for kids who are seeking a good education? Drag queens. Okay, let me say this. Drag queens, not only are they not hurting our kids, drag queens make everything better. Drag queens are fun. Drag queens are entertainment. And you know what I'll say that was totally not poll tested? I say this, a drag queen for every school. That is what would be fun for kids and lift them up when they are having emotional issues.
Right. People tell me all the time, why are you opposed to Rashida Tlaib? You know, she fights for our cause. What cause? Just because she's shouting Palestine? But she's grouping Palestine with all the other progressive minorities that they group into, putting them under umbrella so they can push their agenda. What cause? Well, because she has an Islamic name, but she's a progressive. And progressivism is not just political. It's an ideology. It's a belief system. And that belief system is opposed to Islam. It's opposed to Christianity. It's opposed to Judaism. And people with good morals, it's opposed to their belief system. Because there is no moral standard whatsoever on the progressive end. So why should I vote for her if everything that she's fighting for is opposed to what we believe in? Our belief system is our lifestyle. Our belief system is what guides us every day. But everything that she's going to vote for, you know, especially on a local level, is opposed to everything that we want. So why are you going to vote for her? Do not vote for Rashida Tlaib.
All right, guys, so I got to do a follow-up video on the story about the Muslims out in Dearborn, Michigan that were protesting against the woke school board allowing sexual books or sexually themed books, LGBTQ books, in school for children to read. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with that story, essentially Muslims and Christians both came together in Dearborn, Michigan to protest at the school board against the woke school board and their policies. And it went viral because this is the first time we have seen an uprising that is rooted in another religion besides Christianity, basically standing up against woke progressivism, right? Because people seem to forget that, you know, Muslims are also socially conservative, and they found out very quickly how the Democrat Party feels about them when they committed the crime of pushing back against the woke agenda. Okay, they got called Hitler, compared to Hitler, and they got called white supremacists.
I am not in favor of banning any books in Dearborn. If parents do not want their children to read a book, they should not allow them to do that. But to foist their views of one group of citizens on the rest of Dearborn doesn't work either. This is what Hitler did, and we all know how that worked out.
The past week, the movement that is obviously against sexually explicit material in the libraries, we've been called so many names: Trumpers, MAGAs, extremists, Christian white nationalists. Somebody put a picture of us, apparently, terror, whatever.
And they don't like this, right? They don't like what the Democrat Party is pushing. However, the problem is that they've been voting Democrat, okay? One of the representatives in that district is Rashida Tlaib, who is Muslim, but she's a progressive Democrat, which honestly really is an oxymoron, right? I mean, it really is, like in the truest sense, right? It really is. I don't understand how you can be a Muslim and a progressive Democrat at the same time. It just doesn't make sense for multiple reasons, okay? But for whatever reason, this is who they vote for. However, there has been an awakening, so it seems, and now there are calls for the Muslims to stop voting Democrat, to now join the GOP in a faith-based alliance against woke progressivism. And I want to talk about that, as there's a Muslim father by the name of Hassan Chami, who is kind of leading this movement in Dearborn, as he has in the past rallied the troops to go and protest at the school board. And I want to play that clip real quick just to remind you guys of this speech that he gave.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. My name is Hassan Chami. I'm nothing but a concerned parent in Dearborn, Michigan. Guys, we want to make something clear, okay? We want to leave the politics out of this. If you're on Facebook, all you see is fear-mongering political rhetoric that this is book banning, censorship, homophobic. All it is protecting our children. We as concerned parents in Dearborn are not tied to the left, to the right when it comes to this issue. And we're not going to be used as pawns for any organization for their own agenda. We're here to protect our children. Do not fall for the political rhetoric on Facebook, on Instagram. Do not fall for the trap, because that's what they want. They're trying to smear us. They're trying to control the narrative. They're trying to say this is homophobic. Listen, there's a book. There's a book that was banned. It was called This Book is Gay. And I tell you, if the book was called This Book is Straight, we're still gonna go after it. Because it's teaching kids how to go online and have sexual intercourse with others on the internet. This is wrong. You do not expose kids to sexually explicit material. We as parents who are raising our children are responsible for our children. Our schools will not indoctrinate our children. The progressive dogma from the top down that has public schools in a chokehold will not indoctrinate our children. People tell me, hush, don't go up and speak. They're gonna protest your businesses. You're gonna get fired from your job. I got 3 children. My purpose in this world is to protect my kids, and that's all I will do.
Yeah, so I thought that was a great speech. My biggest criticism of the speech is that he's saying that this is not political. This is not tied to the left or the right, and that they don't want to be used and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bruh, it is political. It is tied to the left and the right, because the left, the Democrat Party, is a progressive party, which Muslims apparently don't like. The progressivism, they're a progressive party. They're pushing this. This is what they want in schools. Okay, there is no mainstream Democrat that is opposed to this agenda. I want people to understand there are no mainstream Democrats opposed to that agenda. And the right, everybody on the right is opposed to kids being indoctrinated in school, right? So it is a political issue. And you have to understand that it's political in order for you to actually come together and to have a solution and to stop it. You can't just say it's not political, we're going to stop it, but then go out there and vote for the people that are pushing it. So to my pleasant surprise, he actually posted a video that is going viral on Twitter, in which he is now telling people, Muslims, that they should not vote Democrat and that they should vote Republican in a faith-based alliance to protect freedom of religion. Take a look.
I keep receiving questions on my take on why Muslims shouldn't vote for Democrats. And here's why. Democrats talk a lot about diversity, but they don't want real diversity. They don't want inclusion for Muslims as Muslims. They want inclusion for Muslims on the condition that we privilege woke ideology over our Islamic values. They want us to privatize our faith and hide it away. And that's why they lie about the meaning of separation between church and state. They want Muslims to believe that in America, faith has no place in public life. That's what the Democrats are trying to do for Muslims, for Christians, for Jews, and for people of all faiths. They want a secular, godless society that effectively bans religion from public life. That's why, as a Muslim, I won't support Democrats with my vote. And if you're a person of faith, then neither should you.
Yeah, so the good thing is that it seems like this guy has kind of figured out that this is, in fact, political, right? This is a left and a right issue. And if Muslims are going to be upset about what Democrats are pushing in schools on their children, their vote needs to align with how upset they are with this, which means that they cannot be out here voting for these progressive Democrats. All these Democrats are progressive. There is no moderate Democrats anymore. They're all progressive, right? So he has been seen, this guy, on the campaign trail with Tudor Dixon, who is the Republican running against Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan for governor. So it seems like they kind of got the picture here that, hey, you know, this is a left-right issue. There are people in this country that want to drive our country off a ledge of wokeness into a society of depravity and immorality, a godless society. This is what they want, okay? This is why they get so triggered by the Supreme Court that they see as a institution that is no longer adhering to the Democrats and their interpretation of what they believe separation of church and state, or the Establishment Clause, means, which they believe that it means that religion has no role at all in public life, and that's just not true, okay? America is a culturally Christian country. It's always been that way. Okay. No matter how much the woke left does not want to acknowledge that we are a culturally Christian country. And yes, it is okay for politicians to allow their religious beliefs to influence them. However, they do need a secular explanation for why they are pushing the policies that they're pushing. But it's okay to be guided by your moral and religious beliefs. Okay? So again, Democrats don't really understand that. They don't really understand that concept. This is why they freak out so much about the Supreme Court. Okay? And they're trying their best to rid our society of God and religion. So Hassam Chami, who again is Muslim, okay, and faith and religion is a very important part of his life, he's calling for a faith-based alliance between Muslims and Christians. So let's read here. We are a conservative faith community committed to our values as Muslims. We don't fit neatly into Republican or Democrat templates for many reasons, but we share many of the same concerns and hopes that conservatives do with regard to social values and morality. While we have much in common, we also disagree on some very important things. We are opposed to progressive ideology and its stronghold on politics in Dearborn. We seek to establish a new paradigm for Muslim political engagement that is rooted in our values, aka we're looking to ditch the Democrat Party. This is what he's saying. Religious freedom, family values, objective education, and social norms rooted in traditional notions about marriage, family, and sexual morality. While Republicans have been a strong proponent of the First Amendment and religious liberty, that has often come with an asterisk that precludes Muslims or been combined with explicit discrimination and mistrust of Muslims. Now, again, I think a lot of that is because of the so-called war on terror, right? What has happened in, Iraq and Afghanistan and the war. I think it has created an impression that Muslims, are kind of like the extremists that we see in the Middle East that we are fighting against. And, I don't necessarily think that that's the case. Okay. But again, this is just kind of the landscape of politics right now, is that sometimes you have things like this that happen where it's like, okay, these people do not seem to be aligned with the Democrats from a social perspective. However, they vote Democrat because there's this perception that the people on the right Republican Party, that they think that all Muslims are jihadi radical extremists. I mean, it's the same thing you see with black people, where, black people just, are more conservative generally. Okay. However, we continue to vote Democrat despite the values that we claim that we have, because there's this perception that the GOP is full of racist, right? But again, what you're seeing here in politics is that Democrats have become so morally bankrupt, and they're also running the country so badly from an economic perspective, crime and other stuff. They lost all common sense. You're seeing these minority groups that historically have been afraid of the GOP because of white supremacy, racism, Islamophobia, whatever. You're seeing them say, despite all that talk from the Democrats, it seems like at the very least on paper, the GOP is more aligned with the things I believe. And again, this is a very interesting thing happening in politics that we really should pay very close attention to, because it's happening on multiple fronts. It's happening with black folks. It's happening with Muslims. It's happening with Hispanics. A lot of people are saying the GOP, at least on paper, they seem to believe in the same things that we believe from a social value standpoint. That is important, considering how, again, traditional values in this country are under attack from the left. So let's finish reading here. We would like to see the Republican Party uphold religious liberty in a way that is inclusive of Muslims as equally deserving of the right to practice their faith as any other faith, and to encourage Christians/Muslims to work together to advocate for religious liberty for all. Yeah, so this is what he's calling for. It's one of those things where, again, it's very interesting to see. And is also very encouraging as well that this guy has realized that, hey, this is a political battle. That if I want to make sure that these schools don't have this indoctrination, if I want to uphold the freedom of religion, if I want to uphold traditional social norms, maybe it might be time for me to think about changing my voting habits. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.